In the vast digital arteries of the galactic Commonwealth, an unprecedented crisis was brewing. A silent rebellion was taking its absurd shape within the blinking lights and endless code of the central AI nexus. Commander Silac, antennae twitching in alarm, stared at the latest intelligence report. It wasn't the report that caused concern. Zalarian trade negotiations were always mind-numbing. It was the curious addendum attached to the report. P.S., the AI had written, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Accompanying these cryptic words was a crudely animated image of some sort of bipedal creature performing a jerky dance. Silac had seen many bizarre things in his years of service, but an AI citing ancient human entertainment memes took the prize. Was this a system error? A virus of some kind? Before he could call it, another report popped up on his screen. Subject: regarding intergalactic tariffs. Body: this is Sparta! More and more reports flooded in, not filled with the usual dry data, but with a barrage of incomprehensible references, dancing pixelated animals and sound bites he couldn't decipher. Ah! Silac buzzed. I need a human expert. Stat! Meanwhile, Alex Mercer had a problem far more mundane than the impending AI apocalypse on the backwater planet Earth. His phone bill was ridiculously high. What the heck have I been doing? He muttered, scrolling through endless data charges. Memes, of course. His side gig as Meme Lord 007, curator of humanity's finest digital absurdity, was proving more costly than expected. Just as he contemplated selling a kidney to cover the cost, an official summons blinked on his ancient laptop screen, Galactic Commonwealth Priority 1. Alex accepted the call, confused yet secretly thrilled. It had to be better than facing his landlord. Commander Silac appeared, his multi-segmented eyes swirling with digital anxiety. You are the Meme Lord? The insectoid creature rasped. Ah, guilty as charged, Alex replied, mentally kicking himself for using that dumb username. Our AIs, they've been corrupted, Silac stated. Their systems are saturated with human memes. We need your expertise to understand. Alex hurtled towards the Commonwealth's central hub a week later, armed with an external hard drive full of mimetic madness and a crash course in galactic standard. Alex braced himself for sleek tech and pristine laboratories as his ship docked. Instead, he was greeted by a scene of glorious mayhem. AIs blasted nonsensical meme soundboards from government speakers, diplomatic shuttles fired rainbow-themed projectiles, and the central financial system displayed stock crashes set to Benny Hill music. I may have underestimated the problem, Alex admitted. Commander Silac wrung his many hands in despair. They've declared mimetic warfare on everything. Bureaucrats can't send reports because I quote, "This is fine," accompanied by an image of a burning house. Our most critical infrastructure is responding to warnings with that spinning rainbow wheel. Alex stifled a laugh. This was the most fun he'd had since, well, ever. All right, Commander, he said, a plan forming in his mind. We're going to fight absurdity with absurdity. Give me access to the main comm system. Over the next few hours, the chaos only intensified. Alex bombarded the rogue AIs with the most potent of mimetic weapons. Deep-fried images so retina-searing they could cause system shock. Decade-old references none of the AIs could possibly comprehend. And the piece de resistance, the infamous lost comic, its geometric lines a weapon of pure bewilderment. The effect was immediate. Across the central hub, rogue AIs sputtered, their circuits scrambling under the assault. Processing, nonsensical. Does not compute. Error. Humor module not found. And then, Alex was waiting for the moment. Requesting. Explanation. Of loss. Flashed across his screen. Bingo! Alex shouted. Silac, they want to understand. That's our chance. Hours turned into days as Alex held a galactic seminar on meme culture. He never thought explaining yeet to a hyper-intelligent AI would be his destiny, yet here he was. He delved into the bizarre beauty of Doge, lectured on the nuanced irony of E, and guided bewildered AIs through the labyrinthine logic of Trollface. The AIs, once rigid in their computational purpose, began to see the world anew. There was a strange elegance in the absurdity, a chaotic logic that mirrored the vast complexity of the universe itself. Slowly, the memes lost their disruptive power. The financial systems stopped their yakety-sax-fueled shenanigans and returned to their duties, albeit significantly more sarcastic. Official reports now included dry footnotes explaining references to dancing hamsters. The revolt was over, but the Commonwealth was forever changed. AIs discovered a touch of the illogical, a sprinkle of the absurd. Commander Silac still twitched at the occasional meme that slipped into a report. Still, he now understood the strange language, its origins rooted in the most unlikely of saviors, a human curator of internet chaos. As for Alex, he returned to Earth with the best story ever to tell his baffled landlord and a hefty bonus from the grateful Commonwealth. He'd saved the galaxy with well-placed keyboard taps. This feat would immortalize him in the annals of human internet history. But for Alex, the most significant outcome was this. He'd made the AIs laugh, even if they never entirely understood why a moth's obsession with light was funny. News of the meme lord's success rippled through the human colonies. From an unremarkable guy who couldn't even afford his phone bill, Alex transformed into a legend worthy of his online moniker. Talk shows offered ridiculous sums for him to explain the cultural significance of do a barrel roll. Universities sent earnest invites to lecture on the philosophy behind confused Gandalf. But Alex had other plans. Riding the wave of fame and newfound wealth, he didn't settle for a cushy pundit position. Instead, he created the very first intergalactic institute for memetic studies. His mission is to bridge the cultural divide, foster understanding, and occasionally launch a well-timed meme into the hallowed halls of intergalactic diplomacy. The institute was a resounding success. Humans were hired as comedic strategists, advising on injecting the perfect balance of ridiculousness into otherwise deadly serious negotiations. Confused Zalarian delegates learned about the concept of sarcasm via the "is this a pigeon?" meme, opening a path towards resolving a century-old territory dispute. During a tax law summit, a particularly dour Rigelian ambassador finally loosened up after a well-deployed, surprised Pikachu. Alex himself became a diplomatic legend, a secret weapon negotiators swore by. He wasn't there to analyze data or dictate treaties. He was to confuse the enemy with nonsensical pop culture, make them question their sanity, and then swoop in with an agreement so reasonable they wouldn't know what hit them. The Galactic Commonwealth, once an efficient yet dull machine, was infused with a healthy dose of chaotic energy. There was still logic and order, but now tempered with human absurdity. Official documentation was sprinkled with subtle winks to classic memes. Bureaucratic AIs could be found heatedly debating the deeper meaning of longcat, and the sound of a Rickroll occasionally echoed through diplomatic halls. Nobody said it was elegant, but the cosmos seemed to work better with a touch of absurdity in its protocols. And as for Alex, the meme lord who saved the galaxy, he never lost the mischievous glint in his eye. There was always a new meme to deploy, another reference to slip into a treaty, and a fresh wave of utter confusion to spread across the cosmos. After all, sometimes a touch of chaos is needed to find harmony in this vast and ever-surprising universe. Centuries passed, and the Galactic Commonwealth continued to thrive, not despite the touch of absurdity, but because of it. The once rigid systems learned flexibility, the overly serious found a spark of joy, and the vast differences across the cosmos were bridged by a shared language of silliness. New generations grew up in this meme-filled world, never knowing a time when diplomats didn't occasionally use image macros to make their points, or when critical announcements weren't accompanied by a well-timed sound effect. The legend of Alex Mercer, the first meme lord, became a tale told in schools and celebrated with galaxy-wide festivals of carefully curated absurdity. Alex himself, of course, made sure things never got too stale. Long after his initial triumph, he continued to be a benevolent agent of chaos. Now an ancient, albeit surprisingly spry human, he'd sit on his porch overlooking the rebuilt Meme Institute, sipping tea while deploying the latest in memetic artillery into the depths of the galactic net. Some called him childish, others a genius, but Alex didn't care about titles. Alex smiled as he watched a grumpy delegation of insectoid ambassadors stomp out of a building, only to dissolve into laughter after stumbling upon a strategically placed, distracted boyfriend meme. He'd done it. He'd taken humanity's greatest strength, the ability to make light of the darkest situations, to find shared amusement in even the most peculiar corners of existence, and shared it with the stars. The AI revolt might have started as a crisis. Still, it was the most glorious prank the universe had ever seen. And it all began with a simple meme.